What is the U.S. government's relationship with these things? And there's evidence that there is a relationship and that it's longstanding. And that raises like a lot of questions about intent. And so like, what is that? And I just personally decided, you know, and people have been hurt by these things. You know, that's a fact. That's a fact. It's a knowable fact. It's a provable fact. Their main interest is in convincing you that the supernatural is not real. And if you watch, and there are people in the media who specialize in spreading these lies on behalf of the government. I'm not going to name anybody, but like some of them work at the New York Times. Once you realize what the point of the exercise is, it's crazy. And I hope you'll assess all the fact-checking and the skepticism on UAPs through this lens. The main thing they want you to believe is that the supernatural is not real. Well, then you have to ask yourself, like, why?
That's interesting.
It is so interesting. Why is that important to you? Why do you care if I think the supernatural is real? Like, why is that? First of all, why is it? How dare you, as my government, try to get involved in my spiritual beliefs? That's totally not your area. So get out of there, okay? A. But B, why has that been so important for 80 years for you to convince me the supernatural is not real? Why? Why is that? And of course, I can't answer the question, but my gut level response is, well, because if it is real, whatever they're telling you is not real.
Evening, folks. I left you up, Matt. I left you up, and the reprobate has joined us. He's here. He's here.
How are you doing? Oh, what's up?
That I nailed that intro. I nailed it. Literally the welcome there. You know, good evening, folks, and all that jazz. It's
It's just a pro. You're a professional. I'm happy I didn't come back because of the time you popped it up, because I would have been right there in my underwear for everybody. How would that have been?
I could have had Leo at the same time as well. It was naked a second ago.
I know. Yeah.
How are we doing, fellas?
Good.
Yeah,
it's the weekend. You got to be happy. It's Saturday. How could you be mad at Saturday? You know?
Yeah. You back, Matthew? You back?
Yeah. Every time I come on, Leah, it's all about me being back. Yeah, but no, I am absolutely here to stay, buddy. Probably for forever, for a long time. I don't know. We'll see.
Is this it now? Are you gonna have like a break and like a
sabbatical, like an annual thing? I mean, maybe we'll see how it goes. You know, as
Welcome
long as
back to CM Punk.
Hey, mate, this whole UFO what is it? The UFO, what's it called? What's the thing you've entered called? Again?
Oh, the contest, the talk radio, UFO Talk Radio is doing they started this monologue competition on UFO Twitter, and anyone could join. It's like a 2-round tournament competition kind of thing, where you can enter by opening your own Twitter space. And then for the first round we did, I think it was like between 10 and 20 minutes. You did like this monologue talking about what's happening, what's happening with UFOs, disclosure, the phenomena, kind of what have you. And so they I think they ran it for maybe a month and a half. I had known about it before I decided to go ahead and enter it. But it was there, it was very cool. And it's been very interesting. It's fun to be able to kind of get your voice out there and talk about what you really think is going on, and, get more personal than you would in typical podcast situations or anything like this. But I was lucky enough to get into the top 8. So I'm excited for that. Next week is a busy week because I got to set up my show for Sunday, and then I got to get that 20-minute speech, 20 to 30-minute speech for the second round for the top 8 together at the same time and record it. And so I'm gonna be busy, but it's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of like really big people on Twitter that are in it. So I'm definitely honored to be there, kind of amongst everybody. It's very cool. Yeah.
So how do our audience help you out?
Yeah, so the best thing you could do is if you look right underneath here at Terrestrial Material on Twitter, if you follow me there, when they release the information about the contest, obviously I will retweet it, or you can follow, and I think it's at UFO Talk Radio. It's right there on Twitter. You can follow them as well, and then they'll let everybody know when the contest is done, who's won, where you can listen to all the entries. There's going to be 8 new ones, like I just mentioned. It's really, really interesting stuff. A lot of big people. Tupa's in it, by the way, which is very cool. Great guy. So he's in there. Astral's another big guy on Twitter. He talks about like remote viewing and stuff. He holds really interesting spaces. So really cool names, man. Great people. I think people will enjoy it. So follow me on Twitter for that, and that'll kind of keep you updated on it. Yeah.
Awesome, mate. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you, my man.
I mean, you're up against Tupa as well, and like so, yeah. and Tupa's a great guy. So
he's very smart. There's a lot of very smart people, a lot of very articulate people in it. And yeah, it's going to be a stiff competition in the top 8 for sure. Yeah.
And what does the winner get?
A lot of money. There's 10,000 total in prizes. First place gets 5,000. I think second place gets 3. Third gets 1,000. I think the 4 through 8 get $200 each. So, yeah. I mean, good. Look, the money's cool. It is, but I think at the end of the day, at least for me, you kind of want to get in there to get your voice out and maybe help the topic if you can. That should be the ultimate goal. No, I'm not against money. You know, I'd like to win, but at the same time, it's like
grifter.
Absolute grift.
And I'm giving all the money to Ashton Forbes right away. You know, that's where it's gonna go. But no, I'm kidding. But yeah, man. I mean, the money's cool and it's there, but at the end of the day, to be able to help the topic, if we can, that should be a big part, man.
Awesome, mate. Well, good luck with that. Good luck.
Thank
with
you,
that. So boys, we've had finally Tucker on Shawn Ryan Show. I've been a big fan of Shawn Ryan's for quite some time now. Since I think you showed me Shawn. I think it was you, Lee, that showed me Shawn Ryan's show.
Maybe, yeah. Possibly. It was probably the series he did with the 3 whistleblowers that brought through. They were probably the best 3 podcasts that those individuals did.
Oh yeah. So he kind of, am I right by saying this? It's about a year ago that he kind of blew up with the UFO thing.
Maybe two years now. Time flies, yeah.
It does when you're having fun.
I can't remember when did Greer's like whistleblower thing come out? Was that last year or the year before?
I think it was last year. It was right around the time Grush came out, I think.
Was it?
Not too long after.
Maybe it is.
I think it was before Grush. I think.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. Just before. Yep.
Yeah,
because,
I can't remember, but
because Steven said he knew Grush, and then Grush didn't say much about Steven.
Yeah,
he did. Steven did say, "I know David Grush." I remember him saying that. Yeah, he did. 100%.
I know him and Elizondo don't get along. Lately, it doesn't seem like Grush and Elizondo get along. That's what's really interesting to me.
Oh, I've missed this.
Yeah, I don't think it's like out in the open, like they're arguing or anything like that, but it just seems like they try to stay very distant from each other. Elizondo just opened up that new UAP disclosure fund, and where they're trying to gather all this money, and I think Carl Nell from the Soul Foundation's in along with that thing too. But there's like a lot of big names that are in it. You would assume that Grush would be there, but he's not, which was interesting enough to me. And I was lucky enough to hear, I think the guy who founded the disclosure fund for them was in a Twitter space, and he was talking about how Grush seems to be more interested in actually assisting Congress at that root level with them. So maybe that's why he didn't jump on board. He's kind of already busy, but I don't know. You don't hear them talk much, right? Or talk about each other.
It's interesting because you kind of have it in your head that they are part of the same like plan, like disclosure plan. And the fact that he hasn't jumped on board with the disclosure fund shows that there is, there is at best like conflicting interests between them all. How do you feel about the disclosure fund thing?
I mean, for me, I don't really know why we need one. I mean, I think if these people could just come out and drop the hard evidence, we can just bypass everything if we could get a Snowden. But if you want to go the route of, trying to get legislation put together and stuff like that, it costs money. Yeah, I get it. But I don't know. There's a million of these foundations that are popping up all over the place.
Yeah, they usually end up people buying houses.
Yeah.
We need a house for all the disclosure documents,
Would you need like a place for it? I mean, that's kind of what they're trying to do with
I understand if they bought a house with a swimming pool and all that sort of thing, when you need a room for all the disclosure documents, and when you get a bit hot and sweaty from looking through, you need to cool off in the pool. That's just a little bit of a pleasure that they deserve.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I don't know. It's just another thing that's asking for money for something that I don't think that we really need money for. I mean, I agree with Tim Burchett. Just release the files, man. Just release it. Put it out there. Put out what the government knows.
What do they know, though? Because according to Tucker, he seems to think that they've teamed up with the devil himself, by the sounds of it.
Maybe. What do you guys think?
Well, I wish Vetted was on, and I know you do, Lee, because well, I'll let you go.
No, I mean I'll just go with the Tucker thing. Like it feels whenever he comes on, like, I mean, we've been like hammering the drum of like UFOs being something other than like metal ships with alien lads in them for quite some time. Probably a couple of years. We've
I'd
been
say more. I'd say ever since
the government started admitting the UFOs. That's been the joke, hasn't it, on this channel? Ever since then, is that I stopped believing in aliens the minute the government told me to. And I just feel that maybe there is some what you call it. What's the word? I forgot the words. But like some sort of subconscious leaning that like Tucker's kind of confirming what or at least he's confirming that he believes the type of stuff that we've been saying. That's probably the best way to word it. So maybe I'm slightly biased, but every time I listen to Tucker talk about UFOs and stuff, I feel I'm listening to someone talk that gets where we've been coming from for the last couple of years. And I find it incredibly interesting. I find it more interesting the fact that I genuinely think he's disturbed by whatever he's been told. I think he believes it, and I think it's disturbed him.
It's all about who he's been talking to, though, too, right? I mean, we know he's kind of been talking to Elizondo. Obviously, he interviewed Grush. Yeah, those are the people I think they're like the out-facing people that we know he spoke to. But I mean, I'm sure he spoke even more behind the scenes. Who knows if he even spoke to Putin when he was over there about it? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. He is I don't know. Maybe he is the most connected journalist in the world. Probably.
I don't think he'd have a hard time going anywhere and speaking, right?
Yeah, I can't think of another journalist which has the reach that that he does. I suppose you could possibly you could enter a Rogan into that as well, like the amount of people behind the scenes that we'll never know he must have spoke to about things. But yeah, Tucker, he must know. Like, he probably knows more about what's going on in this than any of those people in Congress do up to this point. And like he does, he thinks it's a spiritual thing. I mean, realistically, he was talking about some like a battle between good and evil, in that interview. and it's interesting because I think this is I'm not sure whether this is going to be like a branch off the topic, or whether we're going to see the topic like evolve, and this is actually the next steps in working this out. I remember your guy, what's his name, the Irish guy that did the Skinwalkers in the Pentagon book, I think. I forgot what his name is. Not McCulloch, is it? Is it something like that?
Is it Colm Kelleher?
Colin Kelleher, that's it.
Yeah.
So nothing like a McCulloch. And I listened to an interview with him, and it was over a year ago now, maybe 2 years ago, and he said it like the best way I've ever heard anybody say it. And he said, if you're not willing to entertain the fact that UFOs have a spiritual element to them, then you are ill-equipped to deal with this topic.
Yeah.
And I more and more, I think I see that, especially like when you go on Twitter and you look like UFO Twitter, and there's a divide between the like commentators that are still stuck in Roswell, something crashed, it was taken to an aircraft hangar, we need to find out what was in that aircraft hangar. And then you've got other people which are willing to entertain these other ideas. And if you just look at them at face value, one of them's claiming to be all about science and all about like just truth. We just want truth. But I think objectively, they look like the ones that are like the most soaked in dogma. And the people that are willing to entertain these ones are actually the people that are playing around with the ideas of what this could actually be.
I think is interesting too is, we always feel like the general public is behind the ball on a lot of this stuff. But
Mhm.
for me, with what I kind of think is possible with the potential for AI and what that means for potential, time travel, future humans, what have you, AI is talked about massively in the general public.
Yeah.
To me, it's almost like, did they get out ahead of us?
Maybe.
How weird would that be if they jumped and leaped past us? That's pretty strange to me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You've got a good point there, because especially when you look at the conversations Tucker's having, the type of shows that Rogan's been doing recently and stuff like that. I mean, that's mainstream media now. There's more people listen to Rogan and like Tucker Carlson's podcast than watch CNN or the BBC. So that means the broader public is being exposed to that stuff, where the guys that should be, it should be us guys which have been involved in this for ages, should be on the cutting edge of the information. They're stuck in Twitter spaces arguing with each other.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild. I mean, the fact that anything that goes down these days cannot. Twitter is used as a platform now. Essentially, I mean, we got a new whistleblower the other day, which I believe may be coming on the show at some point.
I don't. Yeah, no, I can say this because he put a public statement out. He was booked to come on the show next Saturday. He then sent me a. We were trying to get him on this Sunday, and then it was going to be Saturday. Then on Friday, he sent me an email apologizing. He said, and with the statement that he put out, that he'd been in contact with someone that had advised that he remove himself from all engagements that he had planned. So I just messaged him saying, I hope everything's okay, and don't worry if you do want to come on at some point, just let us know.
Do you feel he was advised, or do you feel he was threatened? That's kind of different, right?
I don't know.
What do you get the vibe of?
Right, I got the vibe just listening to him, because obviously I listened to some of his space that he did. I didn't get the feeling that he was like necessarily deceptive. I thought that was quite odd. I did find it strange, and I was going to bring it up with him when we spoke to him. that he kind of just told me the Stranger Things story. And I don't know. He just seemed like a reasonably good dude. I had a decent chat with him like over messages, and it was strange when he said the people that he'd been dealing with had like advised him to pull out of things. The only thing I could think is there's two lines, isn't there? One, he's threatened, and if you've been told not to do this. The other one is somebody with maybe some more like media nous has turned around and said like, "Whoa, stop giving your story away before we sell it."
This is true.
So, I have no opinion on which way it is. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I spoke to the guy. He seemed like a perfectly nice dude.
Anybody's a nice dude, but and this is nothing against the dude here, but if someone does offer you an exclusive and they say, "Listen, we love your story, but hold your fucking horses," like you just said, there's some money in this. We want you on so and so to do this. What are you going to do? You're going to go on the small show? You're going to go, I'll go where the money is. They'll probably go where the money is. Let's face it.
I think it's fair. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
probably.
like realistically, if somebody's going to, if you're going to tell your story, and it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to tell your story, but one person is going to give you fucking $8,000. And I've nobody quote me on this, by the way. But if someone's going to give you like $8,000 and the other person's going to give you like a high five, then you're probably going to go with the $8,000 first, and then go and get your high five later.
That's it. I mean, look at the.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. And there's a lot of channels that would disagree there. You've just got to disclose the information.
Yeah. You know what? Joe, I've worked out. Do you know the people that are really angry about the people that make money doing this topic are the ones that are fucking shit, and they're shit, and they don't make any money or do anything, so they're angry that anyone else gets traction.
Yeah, I don't mind that with stories, but I think like it does irritate me if Corbell has like a really good video, like the jellyfish, he doesn't put it out. I holding stuff for 2 or 3 years to make money. That does suck, dude. I would rather have them if he has something that could bring out potential disclosure like that. You have a bombshell piece of evidence, dude. Just put it out.
I don't think Corbell has the choice of when he puts stuff out. To be honest, I think I think he's fed stuff. He's definitely, when you think
he's fed stuff for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously is. Yeah.
But when he turns around and says he has stuff, I don't think he has stuff. I think he's told he's gonna get stuff, and then he's given stuff, and then he's told when he can put it out.
Yeah, I think he's probably even told a description of it, so he knows what to kind of let people in on what he may be getting. But yeah, I mean,
he's less of a gatekeeper, more of a postman.
Yeah, and a postman's a great job. Don't get me wrong. You know,
good calves. All postmen have good calves.
True.
Yeah,
they get that hat in the summer.
I mean, remember the Logan Paul thing with the button?
That's wild. That just disappeared.
Yeah, it's gone. You don't even hear Logan Paul or any of those guys even talk about aliens or anything anymore. They're done with it, I guess. I mean,
I was convinced that was going to be in a documentary on Netflix.
I was.
But I think we would have got that by now.
He could be waiting, though. Guys like him are smart, though. They know when to kind of push things where. That's all they're doing is watching analytics all day. I mean, that's their life. So they know it could still be coming.
Sorry. I wonder whether his WWE career got in the way of that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like, because, I mean, he is making bank now working for WWE. He's one of their top stars, current US champion. And in my personal opinion, as a wrestling fan, the best celebrity to pro wrestler in the history of pro wrestling. I think he's great. And and maybe a company like WWE and TKO don't want one of their top stars being the UFO guy. You know, like it's weird enough, I think, for them having someone that's such a big social media influencer, because usually once you're a WWE, even when you get people that sort of transcend like their sport, the like Ronda Rousey's a good example of this. When she went to work for WWE, she just became like a WWE superstar, and it was like within a couple of weeks you forgot that she was a UFC fighter.
She forgot she was after that last fight, you know.
I know, yeah. And I wonder if that's it. You know, it's they like WWE don't want anything else than you being the WWE superstar.
You know what I wonder about that though is I wonder if 2 years ago that wouldn't have been the case though. I just feel like there's the stigma's coming back to this topic, man. The more that
Maybe.
it drags on and Grush doesn't come out with, you know, the real goods, and these guys don't really kind of prove anything, and nothing really gets through with these UAPDAs and all this stuff, man. I just feel like every time they take an L, the stigma just goes, "Hey, I'm coming back." Where, you know, imagine if that UAPDA would have got passed and they would have been really digging. You know, would that have changed things? I don't know. It's weird to see it.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day, and it was only because we were doing an I was supposed to be playing a gig last night, and we were trying to punt some last minute tickets out before the whole thing went fucking pear shaped. They changed the rules of the gig, and it was going to be like we were going to move it to like an under 18s thing as well, so we could try and sell some tickets to kids. And I don't know. It was probably just because worlds collided and stuff like that, and I started thinking about doing this show, and it suddenly made me realize that we all kind of speak to either people our own age or like a bit older in this. Yeah. I'd like to know, and I'm nowhere near like connected enough with anybody that speaks to like teenagers and stuff like that. My kid's too young for me to get a window into that. I wonder what like teens are thinking. You know, like that sort of teens, like adolescents, because this stuff's filtering down, and I wonder if it's just not for us. You know, that's like where here go, no, we want this, we want that. Is this a setup so that when like Nathan, that's currently at school now, is 13, when he's like 20, 25, that's when this is going to come out, and slowly this is going to build up. And like if you speak to, I wonder what the percentage of teenagers are if you walked up to them and asked them about this. Like, do you know about the congressional hearings? Do you know about who David Grush is? Do you believe in aliens? I wonder what the responses would be, because if all of them go, oh yeah, like we don't know, I don't know who Grush is, but I know they were talking about it in like the American court or something like that, and I know they said that they had bodies in craft. Then that means we're like cannon fodder for the psyop. We're not the intended target.
That's almost like they're creating the next UFO Twitter.
Well, kind of. But the thing is that that's always been the minority, though. What my thing is, remember how I've always joked that one day we'll be the conspiracy theorists because we don't believe in aliens. That's how you do it.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a very good point. And you see, it's got me thinking about my kids, what they're going to be like with this. Am I just going to be the crazy dad that's talking nonsense? And
yes,
going,
it does. No, it's fine. Just stop. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if they will have their mates at school. Like, I'm hoping I'll try and keep this so they don't tell people what I'm doing at school, because I don't know when I'm getting picked on or whatever with the crazy UFO dad. But I'm wondering if it's just got me thinking what you've just said there. If the the youngsters, when they get older, are brought up to believe in this in a certain way, and then there's us speaking it against this. Is it going to be? Could it even get a little bit almost like what's going on in the world right now? Could it get more serious than it is? It's making UFOs sound to be serious.
Well, it should be.
It's-
If it's real,
yeah,
it's like
it
the
should
most
be.
serious subject in the world. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm wondering if when they're older, it will be a very serious subject, but we'll be going against the grain to what everybody else is saying.
So then the question you'd have to ask yourself is, because like this is the thing, like the regardless of what's going on, something's going on. And when I mean something, I mean the fact that it's even been allowed to get this far, right? I think it's hilarious when people on UFO Twitter pretend that having a congressional hearing where they start talk about non-human biologics and go, yeah, well, nothing happened. It was ridiculous. You go, what fucking planet are you on? So, right, regardless of whether you think what they were saying was right or not, let's not pretend that this isn't fucking wild.
It was crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It was crazy.
And you have people just like passing it off going, yeah, no, it didn't mean anything. That didn't mean anything. Like, fuck you. What? So when you sit there in front of 15 people on a Friday night talking on your YouTube channel, you mean something. But yet the congressional hearing doesn't mean anything. That doesn't make sense to me.
It was unprecedented, dude. It still is.
Yeah, of course it was. Like, and the amount of people that came out and said, "Oh yeah, well nothing happened," and you're there like, "Well, non-human biologics."
And with a straight face, and no one laughed, and people were asking questions and they were engaged. Yeah, for sure. The event itself was it was interesting.
So,
Incredibly.
but right, so let's say even if that's bullshit, right? Even if it's bullshit what they're saying, then there's still a reason for the bullshit.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's what gets me with this is either way, real or not, it's still interesting. And like you're saying there, Ollie, does this mean in a few years' time this is going to become a serious subject? Then I'd ask why the foundations are being laid. Why the foundation's being laid to make it a serious subject. Now, because if it was a serious subject and it was on the level, they would just come out now and make it a serious subject, not put the foundations in for a future generation.
I wonder, because Joe Rogan's just had Tucker on. Joe Rogan's good friends with Corbell. I would like Joe to turn around to Corbell and say, what do you make of everything that Tucker's saying about the UFO phenomena when he says it's more spiritual?
I think Corbell's talked about it. Yeah.
I wonder if Corbell would go against that.
I think he probably would. I think he's. I don't know whether it's genuine or not, and maybe it's a part of it is like anybody that gets traction in something. It doesn't matter whether you're like a mountain bike rider that's doing well, or you're a fisherman, or you play chess. If you get yourself into something, into a clique, and you're doing really well at it, especially like on a professional like level, that becomes important. And it's like I know netball players, for instance, that play for like on national sides now, and I like the work she puts in is fucking incredible, and like she's a legit fucking not professional, semi-professional sport athlete, like physically like at like a world-class athlete level, but like nobody gives a shit about fucking netball outside netballers. So that's the case that you might get with Corbell, is that he is in with Zeta Reticuli, probably fucking alien abductions, crashes in Roswell, triangles, in military hangars. So if that becomes your bit, then of course if Tucker comes out and says, yeah, it's fucking biblical, that's probably going to rock. That's going to rock the foundations of what you do too much to take in.
So what do you think? Do you think he pushes back, or do you think he transitions? And if he transitions, how does he do that?
I think he pushes back. I think he pushes back and sticks course with the machinery.
I would like to see that conversation. I would like to see somebody like Corbell on with Tucker.
Yeah,
I think it'd be cool to have a round table. Certainly, you know, if you were to do a big Rogan episode with Corbell, and maybe keep the whistleblowers out as well, like, and just so it's just like the commentators. You know, you could have a Corbell, you could have a Tucker Carlson. Who else could we have? Get
this is getting exciting.
Billy Carson in as well, because his show with Tucker with Rogan today was
you got to put Greer in. You got to put Greer in there too.
Yeah, got to put Greer in. Yeah.
Yep.
Do we put
Linda Moulton Howe? Will dust her off for an afternoon.
Oh, of course you'd put Tom in there. Absolutely. Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Dust Linda Moulton Howe off.
Yeah, just.
We'll sit Linda next to Nat.
Bigelow. We'll stick a Bigelow in there.
Put Lazar on there. I mean, if we're just throwing people on it, why not? You know, it would be interesting to hear all those guys kind of go back and forth. For sure. I don't know why they don't. You know, if they're only in it for the money, you know, they're leaving a big money opportunity on the table, right? I mean, who wouldn't like sign up to watch that? Who wouldn't drop $50 on a Saturday night and watch Greer and Elizondo and Tucker and Corbell, all these guys talk?
Alex Jones and Ike,
chuck them in there too. They're turning their hearts off. We're live on air right now.
He's losing InfoWars, isn't he? They've been forced to liquidate it.
That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true. Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
I've not heard about this.
Yeah, he's being forced to liquidate InfoWars to pay the school, which shall not be named, families.
Oh, yeah.
Help me, Joe Rogan. I owe so much money. You know, but I mean, to kind of touch back on Tucker, the one thing I found was interesting on that Shawn Ryan show is how he's saying that he's kind of out. You know, he doesn't really want to touch it any further, and it kind of get a little bit too tough for him, and which I thought was weird because anyone that would fly over to Russia like that and put their lives on the line to talk to Putin that way, you got some balls, man. Why is talking about supernatural at all? Why is that too much for you? Why is that the line? I'm going to talk for Dave here. Yeah. Because, and we've seen it with people, I think, in this, like in the field. I think there is an element that unless you ground yourself well, and I think it helps if you do this amongst people as well, you're not fucking YOLOing it off on your own. I think the subject itself damages people. I don't think it's an accident. I don't think it's an accident that you see so many of these people, which are single people that do this, like go off the rails. I'm sure we could sit here and reel off fucking 6 or 7 of them.
We've had people on the show.
I was just going to say, I'm sure we could rattle off 5 that have been on this show. I think the topic itself, this is one of the reasons why I'm much more inclined to think that it's something of a, see, I'm going to say spiritual, and I don't even necessarily know if I mean religious when I'm saying spiritual. I think supernatural is probably the better way for me to put it. But yeah, I think it affects people, and I think if what I think Tucker is being told, if what Tucker's being told is what I think Tucker's being told, then I think to engross yourself in that more, there is definitely an aspect of, if you look into the abyss too long, the abyss stares back.
Well, it's kind of like we talked about last week too. I mean, the realization that your religion could be very real, you know, and these beings are very real. And depending on what AI tells you how angels could look, that could be very unsettling, you know. So it's just kind of that understanding that it's a reality and that your sin could matter and that there could be an afterlife where you're burning, dude. And that's a real tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. If that was really real, I think that would change it.
Yeah.
You know, it would kind of shake people at their core to think, man, if I do this, I might be the rest of eternity, you know, get my feet chopped off or something in front of me. And there's crazy, I mean, whatever crazy thing you want to kind of make hell out to be, whatever your hell would be, painful thing that they'll put you through. Yeah, it would shake you up for sure. But do you think he really is getting to that level to where he, like, what I mean by that level is like of information that's believable? Like, is it that valid, the information he's get to where he's really taking it to heart that that's true, that this is really a spiritual thing? That's at least part of it, right? Because we still see these crafts, we still wonder what these crafts are. I mean, I don't
lights.
Right. But which is kind of like a good idea of like, I don't think angels and demons would need a craft. So the phenomena is probably still multifaceted, right? There's probably still more to it than just one side. But yeah. But what do you think about that? I mean,
well, when you think about the idea of craft, because I had that opinion for ages. Like, why would like angels and demons need technology? And then I started to think, well, hang on, if we're dealing with these things that were kind of dimensional level, then why wouldn't they need technology in the dimension that they happen to be in? Even if it could even be a case that if these things are interacting with us, like in our base reality, they might need technology in order to like just be here. If you've got like fourth, fifth dimensional creatures that want to interfere with us in a three-dimensional reality, they're probably going to need something else. You know, it would be the same way as a cartoon interacting with a 3D video game, wouldn't it? Like, in order for that cartoon to interact with the 3D video game, you're going to need to find yourself a third fucking dimension.
Well, I just think that. Oh, go ahead, Ali. Yeah.
No. Carry on.
No, I was just gonna say, for me though, I think that angels, demons. I mean, if there was a spiritual side to this, I think that's one area of interdimensionality, if that's a word you want to put out there for it. But I still think that there could be some other beings that are more grounded the way that we are, that have found a way to manipulate time and come through here. And that doesn't mean that they're from a planet. It just means that they have been able to, maybe they're around us and they're able to kind of cross over. They would still need some kind of medium to move through. Some kind of machine or something that would interact with the environment to get them through. I think you could have multiple versions of interdimensional beings, I guess is kind of what I'm getting at. You know what I mean?
I suppose the question is now, if I could ask Tucker Carlson one thing, obviously it would be, I want to know what you're fucking hinting at. Like, not like less like innuendo and stuff. Tell me. And I would preface it by saying, if you have information that's made you think this, then you probably kind of owe it to people not to hint it and to say it.
Do you think he is going to, like...
I mean, he has to.
I know Vetted said on his show that he's kind of going back and forth. He's all over the place with it.
Well, I think that's why, and that's why I wanted to get him on today, because I think he had the wrong end of the stick with it. And speaking to him on Twitter, he said, "Yeah, you think I've got the wrong, I have the wrong end of the stick with it," and apparently so does the rest of the internet. Because he read that as he thought Tucker was trying to say that the US government were like in contact and working with God, whereas I think what Tucker was trying to say is that the UFOs are a demonic force, and there are elements within the government that are like, because I think this goes beyond UFOs, you see. I mean, I'm a firm believer that it's like tinfoil hat time, that all our world governments have been infiltrated by an ancient religion. You know, you can call us like, you can call them Kabbalists, you can call it the Illuminati, you can call them Satanists. I think it all kind of points back to the same thing. I think the UFO phenomena is heavily involved with that. I think lots of the stuff we're doing at places like CERN, where we're trying to rip holes and pull the veil back, is to facilitate
Just
this.
a bit of science, Lee. Come on.
It's fine. But yeah, I think that's what he's been told. And at that point, because there doesn't seem to be a earthly element pushing back at these people, that's what gets me. Joe, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I always kind of wonder, though, when we think about some supernatural being or some kind of entity, wherever it comes from, what have you, dealing and working with our government or influencing, why do we always jump to the malevolent side of it? I mean, wouldn't it make sense that there's also a malevolent side or a benevolent side that's also maybe trying to get influence, and you maybe have a spiritual kind of war going on in that? I mean, do you think there is like a back and forth?
The only thing I would say there is maybe the malevolent side of that is people just getting on with life and trying to have families. You know, that's you rarely go to war for peace. I know that probably hasn't worked well these days, but maybe it's just the fact that side of it is the aggressor. That's the nature of the other side. The nature of the other side is to be the aggressor, where the good side is kind of just like a natural balance rather than a protecting force.
Yeah, Alex Jones had an interesting thing that he said. I can't remember how long ago, but he said, there's things out there like demons that you can bring them in, you can come into contact with them, and then there's these good things that are out there that you can talk to, and sometimes they listen, but they kind of don't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that you say that, because that's kind of an interesting take I thought he had on when you look at that light and dark side, is that the dark side seems to be so much more active and just more interested in aggressively putting itself in your face or having some kind of manipulation over you, where the other side seems to kind of just hang out, maybe every once in a while come down and perform a miracle and then bail out. That's interesting.
Well, that's the I suppose there's an arrogance in thinking that there's a good side wanting to come back to help us, because the malevolent side makes sense. Like the malevolent side is, if you go for the idea that these things like want the experiences of the flesh, then they want to come back. Sometimes I wonder whether there is an like a spiritual immune system. So we constantly.
Like that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Well, the idea that we're constantly under attack, I only found out the other day that people get cancer multiple times through their lifetimes, and it's just that your immune system manages to just knock that off, and we'll park that battle for a little bit. And I wonder if that's like this with spiritual possession, and not as in possession that we see in The Exorcist, but
right.
The influence from these things, because if you look at I think mass shootings are a really good example of this. The fact that if you look at those people, 9 times out of 10 they're going to be on antidepressants. They're already in a weakened state when this happens. So if we go down the road of these things aren't the aren't the actions of somebody that's just had enough. They're the actions of somebody that's already been in a weakened state and then been took over essentially and influenced into doing these things.
Susceptible for influence.
Yeah. Wasn't it on the last podcast when we had Shawn on? I was talking about the what they called the intrusive thoughts. You know, like we all have intrusive thoughts. Yeah. I might have shared too much about myself.
You said you wanted to chuck somebody in front of a car, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. If that makes you feel better, just somebody, not you. But yeah, I think about that a lot, and that makes me come back to the
twinkle twinkle you little star.
Yeah. Like people in the topic that seem to hit bottom.
Thank you.
And I just wonder whether pushing yourself so much into these things, and it's like I say, it seems to be people when they're on their own, and they let it consume them, and then it destroys them.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting too how he talked about Tucker did on the Shawn Ryan show where he was mentioning that, you know, you look at natural just beings. I mean, you look at nature's natural, and you don't have nature really unaliving itself, for the lack of a better word or way to put it. But humans tend to do that. And so that's almost like a supernatural act. That was crazy when I heard it. I was thinking, man, I've never thought of it that way. You know, he's thinking
it's wrong though.
What? Oh, you think it is?
Yeah, like lemons throw themselves off things. Salmon, like salmon, literally rub themselves on a rock, come and die. Like certain types of spiders will go in to have sex with their mate, knowing they're going to get fucking munched after it.
I mean, I guess, but I feel like it's just they're doing that for a purpose, though. There's an actual intention to maybe progressing whatever their species is. However, you know, typically when we do it, it's because it's over. You know, there's not really much progression in that for humans. It's kind of the opposite.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, that's the only way. You know, we wouldn't have to unalive ourselves to have a child. You know what I mean? Even though it happens sometimes. Sometimes mothers will say, "Hey, you know, look," the doctor say you probably don't have a good chance to live. But I wouldn't even consider that unaliving yourself, though. It's different. It's weird, right? It's different, but
it is weird. Yeah,
it is weird. Yeah, it's touchy. It's strange.
But yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, there's so much I'd like to say here, which you can't say on YouTube.
Yeah.
But the thing is, one of the reasons I started believing in God is because I started being able to see the devil places, and I was much more conscious of that. That made me realize, right, okay, if I can see that, then I probably need to pick a team here. And I think you can see it. I don't know if anyone saw the clip from RuPaul's Drag Race that's gone viral. And like it was I find some of that stuff like wild. So if people can hear stuff, I'm not doing this podcast from Gaza. It's like the last day of TT, and there's a firework display outside.
I see what you're saying. I was trying to follow you there for a second. I was like, where is he going here? Is Gaza? I'm like, where are we at? Okay, I got you.
But I've thrown myself now. No, it's gone. What was I saying?
You said something about RuPaul Drag Race or something.
RuPaul's Drag Race in Gaza.
I find lots of the. Yeah, I find
that's probably going to get some viewership. It probably is.
Either that, the channel shut down.
Can you imagine if we had Tim Dillon on right at that moment? He would just go wild, huh?
I'd love to get Tim Dillon on the show.
Dude, talk about somebody I want to talk to. Oh my God.
He's the best.
I just want to share old sales stories with him. Just talk about sales.
But he is the best of like the truth tellers, because he'll just be hilarious for an hour and then drop 15 minutes of pure unadulterated facts of how the world's working, and then do a dick joke at the end of it. It's great.
He's great, man. Yeah.
But yeah, no, right. The RuPaul Drag Race thing. I think there's I think lots of the way this is like permeated culture in a unnatural way from the way that drag has always been. That sort of, it's took on a new dimension. Drag used to be something people did. Now it's become like an identity. It's weird. It's like all of a sudden, it's like football becoming an identity for people. It's not like you don't just play football, you become football. Like I do football. And one of the outfits one of the contestants had was they had like two false arms, and as they were walking down, so they had like blood coming out of their chest, and it was the two false arms were giving them a mastectomy. It's wild, fucking insane.
I don't need dinner anymore. We're good.
No, and like you look at that and you go, I'm not sure whether this is Saturday evening television or whether this is Silent Hill. And like this is that's what I mean when I see this stuff, and I don't think it's necessarily even the people involved in its fault. I think there's something else. There's something else controlling this shit, and I don't fucking know what it is.
Well, what about that? Oh, go ahead, Lee or Ali.
I was just gonna say, it's like when you get these celebrities that are on every single magazine with covering their eye. And I think it was Dave that said something like he said they probably don't even know they're doing it. They probably don't even know they're not a part of anything. But whoever is wanting these photographs to be done in this way is being told by somebody else. Yeah, we need an eye covered up on this magazine.
Maybe
we'll pay more for it if we get that.
I feel they do know. And I feel there's an
I wonder if some of them are trying to get in.
That's what I was going to try and say.
I'm there.
Yeah. Because I know people that have been involved in like the music industry that aren't sort of are doing well. Like they're signed to sort of mid-level labels and stuff like that. They've got interest from bigger labels, and they'll do those sort of photo shoots. Nobody's asking them to do them. But we all kind of know what that means. And it's maybe you don't even 100% believe in that yourself, but you think, well, maybe if it's just out there, I just want people to know that I'll play ball.
I'll cover an eyeball up.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that every so often, like just... we might get more traction.
We might get more traction. We might lose our soul, but we might get a few more views.
Souls, views. I was like,
how many views are we talking about?
Exactly. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Like, if Tucker has been told this, who's told him it? Because he hasn't dropped any names. We've seen the people who he's interviewed.
He mentioned
dinners. He mentioned a lot of dinners.
Well, that's what he said. He kept dropping that, didn't he? He said, I speak to people. I speak to a lot of people.
When we're having
see, I don't believe that. He seems so like adamant that he understands what's going on. Like it's when he turned around. I can't remember exactly what he said. He said, "No, I think I've got a good idea what's going on." And he seemed so sure, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think he's bullshitting. Like there was a change in his tone when he said that. That wasn't there through the whole interview. I don't believe you get that, especially a guy like Tucker. I don't believe you get that from just one person saying it. I think you get that because you've been told the same thing by a bunch of people. I actually saw who was the guy's name? He was a big commentator, like a big political commentator. and he brought up the Tucker Carlson thing, and he posted. It wasn't like that Matt guy. I forgot his surname now, but it was somebody else. Whoever it was doesn't matter. Just let's go with the fact that it was somebody that is connected. And he said he believed it was Alessandro or Grush that Tucker had been speaking to, but he's since been informed by people that it was actually Trump that was the one that like had a word in Tucker Carlson's ear about it.
That would be interesting if it was Trump that told him this.
Yeah.
What, Trump's feeling threatened about the whole topic?
I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Rick, my lad.
Yeah. I will send Rekka. I will email you. I was thinking about you like today in the shower, and I will be. We will. I'll message.
He would
you
rather you not think about him at all than to think about him in the shower. Just forget him at that point.
I do some of my best thinking in the shower. Yeah, I'll give you an email and we'll sort something out. Because I remember you saying the other day about coming back on, and yeah, I think it'd be good.
What head are you thinking with in that shower?
Go follow American Vindictor Show, people.
All three of them.
Yeah, I don't. You've heard Trump speak about it though, but he's been very brief with it. He's always like, "I've got better things to talk about, like China or whatever."
A lot of interesting things you hear about. A lot of interesting things.
Yeah, but you know, he does. He's never really touched on it.
Not really, not to any detail that would like,
But
push the ball down the field. Yeah.
You think there's the after conversation there? You know, like the mic's gone off with Tucker and Trump, and he's gone, Don, come on, let us know what's going on. What's going on with UFOs? Yeah,
100%. He's not the kind of guy that wouldn't talk behind the scenes. That he loves to talk. And I think, I can't remember the judge that just came out that was talking about him saying, hey, you know, when we get behind the scenes, when there's not 15 people on the other line or on the line with us, you know, I'll tell you what happened with the JFK situation. You know, I think that's true story. I think Trump would behind the scenes tell him what happened with JFK and spill the beans for sure. He seems like that kind of guy, to me at least. Yeah.
What about the UFO thing? What do you think he does? Do you think Trump knows?
If you have to tell the president at all, he probably knows the bare minimum. I don't know if they trust him enough because he talks, and you never know where he could go off the handle and say whatever he wants when he will. Maybe, but it would probably be very bare minimum. I don't think that they'd really open up the files to him. I just don't think so, man. I think they'd be too worried about it. He does his own thing, you know.
Do you think any of them's known? Any of the presidents?
Maybe early ones, Eisenhower. You know, maybe the earlier ones. I don't think it very much going forward from that. Probably not. Maybe Obama. I don't know that he's been talking a little bit, but who knows really what they're telling him the phenomena is or what we have for UFOs. Who knows, like if they're telling them the real story and they're not just kind of spinning it. You know, saying, hey, look, you know, there is some weird stuff, but it's our attack, you know, and it's national security. We don't want to talk about it. So when you get asked about it, you know, be mysterious about it because we really don't want to tip our hand to our adversaries. It could be that they don't ever come out enough, right? If Obama sits there on TV and says, well, there's stuff in our sky we don't understand and we don't know. What's that really mean? Does that mean it's aliens? Does that mean it's the phenomenon? No. He could mean Russia's got some stuff that we don't know about. So it's all about your perception. It's all about how you take what he's saying, you know, and you make of it what you will.
What if the whole disclosure thing, the reason why they say it's so dangerous and it would scare people so much is because it would fuck with religion completely. As in, it is religious what's going on.
It would fuck with religion, but the difference is it would fuck with the current religion when the current religion is consumerism.
Yes,
that would be the real problem because people would suddenly realize. Like Matt said before, if people all of a sudden realize there was actually like issues with what their actions are. There was going to be ramifications for the things that they choose to do. You're fucked. Like, what happened to YOLO? We all discussed YOLO and we agreed you only live once. And this is one of the things I think is why these things have permeated like society. Or this is one of the things I think this stuff has permeated society with, is the live for today aspect. It's like just live your best self, live your best life, and when you break all that shit down, that's fucking Crowleyism. That's do what thou wilt.
Yeah, the credit card companies love it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spend the money on that big trip. You only live once. That's it. Yeah, you got student loan debt up to your ears, but you only live once.
Mm-hmm.
It's American Express Discover card. It's their banner.
Records said president's temporary employees, they know more about war and geopolitics issues than research and development. Congress doesn't have access to the stuff either. They aren't read in. Yeah, I think it's. I think so much of this stuff probably goes on in private industry.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, Congress is definitely not ready. I mean, that's what they're trying to get right now. They're trying to get the information. They're trying to get the select committee made so they can subpoena people and get into more skiffs and kind of put arrow through the grinder and figure out what's going on. Yeah, for sure. They definitely don't know.
It's wild, isn't it, that your elected officials don't know anything about the non-human biologics, regardless of how fit she was.
Like, if something has gone off though in the past, and there's been, well, let's say a visitation that was spiritual, and people have depicted it as aliens and UFOs. Surely, at some point, it's going to leak out to too many people for it to become anything but the truth. And I think that's what happened in the past. But I think now in the modern era, we've kind of realized, well, we haven't, they have, whoever they are. We need to calm these humans down. They can't see this because we will lose all control. They knew what it was in the past, and it's caused uproar. There's the depictions of angels, of demons, and you see the pictures of demons sat on people's chests, and people said that's actually abduction. They talk about the way buildings have been built and how Nephilim came down, they made them, but no, they didn't do it. The aliens did it. I think we had an understanding probably years ago, and we've lost that understanding now. It's gone. We're not allowed to know. I don't know what you guys think of that, but I think we probably knew more, say 200 years ago, about what this thing is to now.
It's fairly undeniable that we had at some point in the past, be it recent past, like as in more recent than we're told it is, or ancient past, as in much further back than we've been told it is. It's fairly undeniable that we definitely had some sort of knowledge and some sort of understanding of things that we have no idea about today. And I can't help wonder whether it was because as a people, we'd worked the technology out, which was much more in sync with like the natural order of things. That's why we were able to build these like megalithic stone things, and it's like without power tools and without like computers and stuff, because there wasn't a lot of junk left behind. We've got a lot of big buildings. We haven't. They didn't leave landfills behind with what they were doing. the question I'd have there is if at some point our like natural balance has been disturbed and we've entered this kind of like into like what would turn into an industry, does that mean there was some sort of like palace coup at some point where we've been shifted off the tracks? It's to that's led us down this road, and you can 100% go down the spiritual road with that. As if the like, where did this shit come from? Like, where did technology come from? We've been told for years and years and years that like we came out of caves, went fuck really hungry. If we really hungry and cold, if we fucking bash enough of these rocks together over this dry kindler, we might be able to make fire. And one thing after another, then we invented the wheel. Then with the wheel came sports cars. I think that was the natural trajectory. And it's been a slow build. Whereas if this losing of technology from the ancient past, it hasn't been a slow build. There's been a change somewhere, like a change off course. And
do you feel like we lost it, or do you feel that it maybe just the toys were changed out? I'm sorry to cut you off. I didn't mean to. I thought you were done there.
No. I don't know. I would say we would change, because if like let's say we've written records well enough that we understand, like we know we can write on an iPad now, but we know we used to use pen and ink like a couple of 100 years ago, like in with a fucking duck feather. So I think there'd be some sort of knowledge of what we'd lost, what we've changed. So I do think there's a loss of something and a change to a different system. And again, this is some of the stuff that definitely turns like some of the UFO people off. But when you listen to people like what Tesla was saying about how ideas came to him, I wonder whether we've been kind of implanted with the technology that we're using today, that's been passed down. And I remember like in a Rogan episode, he's often referred to human beings as being the sex organs of machines. What if technology was given to us in order to birth that in the first place? It's not the fact that we were naturally going to create technology which was going to take over. Like, what if that's when we're looking at like quantum computing and AI and stuff like that? What if that's the gate? What if that's the crossover point for these things?
What do you mean? It's giving it all.
I mean that we're in
all the technology and they'll fuck it up themselves.
No. Give them the technology and they will create us.
Well, as in create the demons.
Yeah.
Well, essentially, we already have. We've got,
or at least
AI is loose.
Or at least create a conduit in which they can interact with us.
So I'm just trying to think how. So the problem with that I have is and I think it's probably because all those years that, I mean, I was never an atheist, but I'd probably struggled to believe in a lot of things. But whatever this thing is, if it's demons and what have you, do they just do that through putting thoughts into people's heads and say it's like, yeah, invent this, make this, and then eventually we'll get. It's going to be a slow build, guys, but eventually they'll get there. Eventually we'll be walking around again.
Slow build for human beings. What if you're a never dying fucking energetic entity?
Oh yeah, no, they've probably got all the time in the world, but
yeah.
I always struggle with it because I mean,
you should. It's mental. If I was to,
It is,
if I finished speaking and you went, yeah, that makes real sense. It's time to take a holiday, Ollie.
I've been a little quiet for a reason. Yeah, I mean, it's a wild thought. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was Tucker that actually said. He said, when you die, I'm convinced you'll know exactly what it's all been about.
I kind of agree with him. I can't lie. I do. I think we'll know more. I don't think we just hit the black. I don't think we just fade to black, man, you know?
No, I always thought about that when I was a kid, like nothingness. When you die, it's nothingness. Like
I always try to think
even blackness.
I always try to think back about before I was born. Like, how did I feel when the Civil War was going on? Like, wait, I wasn't here. I didn't feel anything. What was that like? Try to experience that, but you can't. It's nothing. And like, if that's what happens when you die, it's like, well, then, I mean, you're not even going to know what's going on when you die. You're not going to feel anything. It's over, whatever. Maybe we shouldn't care as much, but if there's something after, whoa, it's different.
Yeah.
What is after? Do we just do it all over again?
That's reincarnation is terrifying to me. That reincarnation is almost as terrifying as like the void, like nothingness. The idea that you could because that's limbo essentially to me, reincarnation. The idea that you could like toil and have like sometimes like I mean we're all fucking blessed with being like born reasonably good fucking geographic areas, but the idea that you could have fucking horrendous lives, just to die, to begin it all again without the knowledge of your previous terrible life to try and put this one right.
I think what's terrifying about reincarnation to me is realizing that if that's what keeps happening, that the odds are you're going to end up experiencing really bad events at some point.
Yes.
All the things that you look at, man, that guy was walking down the street and got shot with a shotgun in his chest, you know, and just had to lay there and bleed out. That's a horrible situation. You go, man, lucky I'm not that guy. Well, hey, your next life, you might be that guy.
Yeah.
That's scary to me.
Oh, you mean you get a chance to live as everybody
else. So all the bad things that happen, other people that got kidnapped and killed and starved, and you know, your next life, you might be the guy sitting in a hot shack like that, starving to death. You were kidnapped. All those bad things. Think about that, man. It's like we're lucky. You know, we're so damn lucky, man, compared to even those people that are in with our lives right now. And you don't know what would happen next, what scenario you're going to be dropped into next. That's pretty scary, dude, at least to me.
Worst thing that happened to me today was out of the 3 avocados I bought, none of them were ripe enough to eat immediately. That's the worst thing that happened to me today.
Yeah.
I had an avocado today that wasn't quite ripe.
Oh, it's like it's fucking hate crime, Ollie.
Yeah, but then you can never get it right with an avocado. The ones that you think, oh, this one's going to be good, and then you chop it open, and things just it looks like something from a Freddy Krueger movie.
Oh yeah, you got to keep it. You got to keep on top of them. Especially like always go for the ripen from home ones.
Yeah,
and just know that you gonna have to wait a couple of days.
We should do a show on it.
Avocado addict.
Make some guacamole and chips, huh? I'm in. I love guacamole, dude. Oh my god.
So the next interview took us in, the next big one. Do you reckon he's going to spill the beans then, or is he going to just go, oh yeah, I know what it is?
I don't know.
It's bad. It's bad. You know, is he actually going to? Who could get it out of him? Could anybody actually get it out of him? Or do you not think the interviews are pressed? I mean, Shawn did press him quite hard on that.
He didn't ask him.
No, he didn't.
He didn't out and out ask him.
Maybe that's one of the. Maybe there is a kind of build up before. Says, listen, yeah, ask me about the UFO.
Maybe Tucker's playing a role. Maybe, and this is
Just
maybe his role.
Don't ask me what it is.
No, but
I can't say
maybe
exactly what it is.
the plan is for him to put this stuff out at some point.
I think what you need to do is get a time machine and go get like Howard Stern from the 90s, early 2000s. I think if he was serious and tried to really push at him, I think he could get it out of him. If anybody could. Howard was the best at doing that, man. He get everybody to talk about the biggest stars, most embarrassing stuff possible. He could do it. I don't know. If you could get him, you could have a chance. Yeah.
He'd be too busy asking him about pronouns now.
I mean, realistically, though, what
Tim Dillon would be a good one. He could go fucking wild with Tim Dillon. Alex Jones would be a good one. I think if I could pick a panel to have on a Rogan podcast, you got Tucker, Alex Jones, and to chuck in either Tim Dillon or Eddie Bravo to add some fucking spice to it. Then that's when you'd find out what Tucker thought.
Tim and him spoke recently, but it was more of like, I think Tucker interviewing Tim, though. It wasn't really the other way around, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the reason why he's not saying what it is and why he knows it is probably because who told him it.
I think it's because you can't do anything about it. If that right, if you were to find out that there was a like a malevolent force that its sole purpose is to distort and taint humanity, what do you do with that? That's not something you can fight. That's not something you can petition. You know, it doesn't matter who you vote in. There is no answer to that puzzle apart from what Tucker Carlson said on that show, which was probably say your prayers at night. That's literally the only move.
Yeah, he already kind of said, I can't remember the show it was that one of the bigger earlier shows that he got on originally. He said people just can't handle it; it's too much. So I think that who was it, Ali?
Oh God, it was with
I can't remember that guy's name.
Neither can I. But he agreed, and he says, "I think we've been both told the same thing."
Oh, it was Redacted.
Yes,
he was on Redacted. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Tucker said he wouldn't even tell his own wife.
Yeah,
so I don't know if he's really gonna tell us, but especially if he stops digging. Do you really believe that he's gonna stop digging? How many people do you guys know that have got into this as much as him and just kind of stopped digging at it? Whether they do it publicly or not is a different story. But do you think he's still not gonna continue to kind of take that itch and scratch at it? I think he will.
Maybe.
But yeah, but if you've already dug it up, and he sounds like he's convinced that he knows what the answer is.
Think about it,
an
right?
Investigative journalist.
In the early 2000s, early internet days, when we were like the war on terror was in its like peak, like really swinging hammer out there, delivering the freedom. There was so many videos online of unheadings everywhere. Yeah. Everyone has seen one of those videos. Now, I saw one of those videos and I did not search unheading again. You know, there is certain things that you find that you go, oh, not for me, not for me.
Let me ask you something, Lee. Let me cut you off real quick. This is an interesting point you bring up because I was just thinking about this recently. Way back, Tom DeLonge did an interview where he was talking about how the process of explaining this phenomenon to everyone, you have to kind of build people up to it. And he used the example that you just brought up. He said, well, if I was going to tell my kids about ISIS, I wouldn't show them a beheading video first, right? Mm-hmm. That you can build into that. Now, it's interesting that you say what you just said, because what I would like to ask you is, do you think there is a process that could have eased you up into seeing that video and maybe made it easier taking that in the first time? Or do you think, look, if you haven't seen one, when you see it, it just changes you? There's no way to ease into a beheading video. I don't personally think there's a way to ease into a beheading video.
No, I think there is. I think
Really?
if you, I think you can be just desensitized. I think if I was to see that now, fresh, it wouldn't hit me the same as it did when I was in my early 20s.
What are those steps though? Like, what's that process? Do you think?
I think it's just the amount of death we see on television on a daily basis. It's now, especially on X, I'm almost fucking desensitized to seeing the horrific things going on in Gaza. Do you know what I mean? Like there's these.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I think porn is a good way of explaining this as well. Like when I was a kid, and like you find like somebody would be brave enough to like go in, and they were like the only fucking like 8-year-old in the world which has bought the fucking Times, and they bought the Times because they had a fucking Playboy stuffed inside of it, and they tried to buy the newspaper and get out before it was seen inside, and then one of yous had a porn magazine, or there was something. I don't know if this was a thing in the US, but lots of times you would find like porn and stuff in phone boxes. Or like one person would have like this badly pirated video of like the softest core porn you can possibly think of from the fucking like from the 70s. Now fast forward to today, and it's like you go to fucking Pornhub and you've got like a 4-foot dead girl surrounded by black dudes, and it's a 45-minute video. It's like there's the desensitization towards porn just shows that these things creep up, and I think there is I think there's something baked into people that want the next thing. It's like iPhone syndrome isn't just iPhone syndrome. It's the same with everything else. So it's once you've had your fill of something else, you need the next thing, the next thing that's worth it. So I think it's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons I think it's good for people to stop like watching porn. I genuinely believe that like the abundance of pornography is one of the things that's like helped erode the building blocks of society. Is just constantly looking for more and more like degrading things to look at.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I have a hard time with it myself. The way I look at it is I could watch.
That's the idea of porn.
Yeah. But no, I mean, just getting back to the phenomena itself, kind of just in the relation to the ISIS beheading kind of stuff. That's what makes it tough for me. Is I think you could watch Hollywood movies and see aliens and stuff everywhere. You could see that stuff a million times, but the day that it steps out across the street from you, I just don't see how you ease into that, man. I think it's going to have that shock no matter what you looked at before. Once it's real, it's there, boom. It's ripping the Band-Aid it's unavoidable. To me, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you can. I don't know. This is my opinion, obviously, but I don't know. I don't see it. I don't know.
I mean, I suppose we again we're saying this as being like lucky with where we are. I'm a big animal guy. I fucking love animals.
Not porn.
I would.
Wow, it got dark right there real fast. Let's get back to the good animal stuff. Playing fetch with your dog. That's bright. Let's brighten it up a little bit. Huh?
Yeah.
Frisbees and stuff, Let's do that.
Yeah. So I would struggle as much as I think I'd like to do it. I would struggle with hunting, for instance. I definitely couldn't go trophy hunting. I think I could probably just about if I knew I was somewhere and let's say you went deer hunting or something like that, and I knew I was going to take that deer, it was going to get cleaned up for me and then get sent back to me to stick in my fucking fridge. where of which I was gonna like I would go through it. I think I could probably bring myself to do that, but it would still be fucking difficult for me. But that's because I've got supermarkets. I've never had to hunt. I've never had to do anything else. But like, if you stick me in a situation where I'm hungry enough, I will fucking rip the eyeballs out of the thing, within a couple of months.
Yeah, for sure. It would change things if it was for your family. Like, yeah, I don't think you would think twice
Yeah.
about killing a deer or anything like that. to
Sorry,
feed your family, for
Bambi.
sure. Yeah, well, hey, yeah, we are soft humans nowadays when it comes to stuff like that, for sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
But
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, but if you put someone in that situation where they've grown up in a family full of hunters, then like their 10-year-old would quite happily do that.
Oh yeah.
True.
I mean, are you putting that into what this phenomenon could be? Am I muted?
No, you're just boring.
Okay. Are you putting that? I'm trying to get I can't get my words out, Lee. Ever since I've stopped drinking alcohol, I can't get my words out.
No, trust me. You keep saying that, Ollie. You're speaking much better. It's lovely.
Okay. Yeah, are you saying that as in? Because I'm not getting it. What are you saying with the hunting thing? That's what I'm trying to.
Oh, just that you can slowly become acclimatized to things. That the desensitization of seeing things is like a thing. So if you, like me, never done it before, would struggle to do it. If you were brought up in a family of hunters, you would just be brought up with doing it, and it's the like what we were saying earlier about becoming desensitized to things. I'm trying not to say the heading thing too many times.
No,
in
I
this
get
video,
you.
so we can get.
I'm just trying to get into my head with the what Tucker knows to the hunting analogy, because I think I get what you're saying. I think he was going off what I was talking about. I don't think he was linking it right necessarily back to Tucker, to be honest. Yeah. Right. Okay. I got you. I got sidetracked there. I got confused.
I mean, it seems like Tucker doesn't feel like that there is even room for that acclimatization, though, right? I mean, from the way he sounds, he's like, I'm not looking into it. I'm not telling my wife. He doesn't even think that there's much room for that. Yeah. Which is weird, because if it's something that's spiritual based, I mean, we've always had theologies in the world. We've always had religions, and people have been pretty much on board for them.
Unless something is going to happen. If something is going to happen and nothing we can do can stop what's going to unfold within our lifetimes, then would you not? And there's no way to prepare for it. This is the thing. Would you not allow your loved ones to live in blissful ignorance for as long as they can? That would be the heroic act, wouldn't it? The heroic act would be to carry the knowledge of what was coming and still sit down for dinner with a smile on your face.
So there's no point in anybody revealing what it is, because there's nothing you can do about it. So you may as well just let it ride itself out.
Yeah.
Because we're already fucked.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think that's probably quite close to the truth, unfortunately. It does kind of feel like that, doesn't it?
Feels like something's coming, doesn't it? There is I think there is a palpable tension, and whether that is the idea of some sort of impending global conflict or something else, I do find it weird that you have something like the UFO topic taking up so much media time when we are in such a perilous time, like globally. You would think at some point, like the Tucker Carlsons of the world, or the politicians, when next time like David Grush sticks his head up, you would think that someone in Congress would turn around and say, we have bigger problems to worry about. We have bigger problems to worry about than spacemen. But they don't. And so I find that I can't work out why. I like that's so sometimes I wonder whether the whole thing is just a distraction. It's just like there's so many things out there, like this sort of scattergun approach. So there's just enough little bits. It's like bread and circus for everybody, essentially. So regardless of what you're into, whether it's video games or conspiracies or fucking aliens, flat Earth, whatever, there is something out there just to consume your time enough.
Well, look at that Arrow report. They hammered away at the word extraterrestrial.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't talk about anything else. It's always interesting when you look back on what Tucker was saying by, they don't want you to believe in the supernatural. That's extraterrestrial. It's interesting for him to come to that conclusion for sure.
Mm.
You see it. There's examples. It's not just him saying that. There's examples if you look. Yeah.
There is, but at what point is it that everybody's going to be singing off the same page, or do you think we're always going to be divided in this? And I do mean the UFO community with this. Or do you think there's always going to be a divide where some of us are starting to think, well, hang about, maybe this is something spiritual. And then we've got a group that's like, it's all a fucking grift. And then we've got a group that it is, hey, this is our friends from Mars or Zeta Reticula or whatever coming to visit us. Is it ever gonna is the triangle ever gonna come together?
Has it ever?
No.
No, but we've never seen such a shift like we are now, though. It's shifting really, really hard. I don't know. I just think that when you look at things like AI and you look at just spirituality in general, I mean, look at how throughout history mankind has dealt with spirituality and religions and things. There's just so much more evidence, and it's almost like it's just more plausible to either be some kind of futuristic AI situation where you have bending time and space and craft like that, or something that people have written on the cave walls for a very, very long time. And it seems like those are more legitimate. I guess like not really legitimate. It's not really the right word, but they're just more plausible explanations than something coming from somewhere else because of what we know about how space-time interacts and how hard it is to move across our universe like that, dude. It's very difficult. So it just seems like it's kind of third place.
Negative. Yeah. Just quickly, do you ever wonder why it's always negative? The news is the news and theories are always negative. It's like if we talk about UFOs, it's like it's an invasion. Like what do they want with us? It's a threat. If you talk about the like climate change, for instance, it's we know that the like a couple of degrees more, there's going to be greener parts of the world, but no, it's going to kill you. Everything's going to kill you. 2 degrees over 150 years is going to kill you. What was the other things, like nuclear war is going to kill us. AI is going to kill us. There's never enough people come out and say, no, this warship, we can probably sort this out. We're all like human beings. Nobody wants this. We can probably talk ourselves out of this. People talk about AI. There's no one comes out and says, do you know what? I think maybe we could we could put all of the information of humanity in this thing and it would be able to come forward. And because it's got all of our information, it'll be able to deliver a concise message that we all understand for the benefit of humanity.
Because if it bleeds, it leads.
Well, maybe that's it. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. I mean, that's why the news media, what have you, they always lean towards the negative. It gets clicks. It does.
So why? So what's, and it, right. Is that the case? Because like we see it now so much with, the like the movie industry and this like crowbarring of woke and inclusive narratives into video games, into films, and time after time after time, we see these things crashing and burning now, because people don't want to watch them. They're not engaging with them. Disney's fucking losing a shit ton of money. Like, I never thought, if you take me back, if you would take me back like 20 years and go, guess what, Lee? Or what? He said, you're gonna have a 6-year-old one day. Do you know what's hilarious? You're not gonna let them watch Disney. I go, fuck off. It's Disney. Go, no. You will not have Disney in the house. And yet here we are. So, but if that thing of like, if it bleeds, if it bleeds, it leads. That logic suggests that we are so fucking addicted to being wound up and angry that we should technically eat this stuff up so we can complain about it, but we're not. We're turning our back on it.
I think I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's human nature. We just turn us back on things that we don't like.
Well, no, it's human nature to just not engage with things. But that's what I'm trying to say. So the difference with the like fear mongering media is we aren't being given the option, because that's all that's being given. So we can't get like a balanced idea of what we would do of the other way. If there was like positive news FM, we would have like at least something to judge. Like, does positive news FM fucking fall apart and go bust, or all of a sudden does positive news FM become the most listened to news channel in the world? I'd argue that's why people like Rogan took off, is because like realistically the underwhelming message under Joe Rogan is generally positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Joe Rogan pushes like real conversation, though. You know what I mean? It's not always, and it has dark sides, dark conversations. Sometimes it's there, but I don't really think it's. Do you really look at his whole show as like a positive at the end of the day? I think
so. Yeah,
I guess it is, but I don't know. I still think it's a kind of a middle ground. You know, it's not fluffy like a Disney movie, but it's not full doom and gloom. It's kind of like this middle realistic approach, you know, ask questions, question everything kind of a thing, have a conversation about reality. Let's get to the bottom of what reality is. I don't know, trying to understand reality and being positive, I still think it's kind of separate, because you're going to have some darkness there, right?
Yeah, you do, because I mean, the if you don't have some darkness, if you don't know where the forest is, then you're probably going to get eaten by a bear. Yeah. But the thing with Rogan is, I think the underlying message to that show is just kind of be nice to each other, just kind of be decent human beings, just be nice to people, and you're probably better off smiling than frowning. So that, like, who's that other guy? That horrible guy with the he's had a podcast. He's had all sorts of issues. Fuck me.
That could be a lot of people.
Oh, he's a fucking asshole. Right, real like uber liberal progressive guy. I forgot what the guy's. He had a big podcast. Anyway, I think if all he does is sell drama. All he does is sell drama and negativity. He'd be Rogan if that was what we really wanted.
I think I know what you mean, but I can't think of the name of it now, and that's really pissing me off.
Yeah, I don't know, Lee. You're kind of pigeonholing it, making it's a little bit too narrow, I think. I mean, there's definitely, like, you could take Rogan. If Rogan wanted to go dark, he would still be big. I think it's the delivery, it's the person too. There's a lot more to it. I think you're just making it a little black and white, just a little bit, maybe.
Probably.
Maybe, I don't know. But, I mean, because you have news stations that run stories about, you know, the dog competition show, right? And you know, you have people that tune into that, and then they have the lady got murdered in the alley that night, and they see how many people view into that.
It's
you know,
not on a global scale, though, is it? I'm talking about like global national on a global national level. It's
okay.
It's pretty bleak. Like I mean, I stopped having live television come in the house during the pandemic. because I just thought, right, I don't need this. I don't agree with what's on the television. I don't agree with what I'm being told. I think it was Piers Morgan in the morning. I woke up, and I think the rest of my family was still asleep. It must be like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I was having a coffee, and I felt myself getting angry watching the television. I thought, what the fuck am I doing this for? And immediately I cancelled like my satellite subscription. And that was an interesting conversation when my girlfriend got up. But and like, I haven't had live television come in the house since then. Like I choose what comes in the house now, not like channels. And I just can't help but think that it's a really good way to control people. If you can keep people angry and scared, it's a really good way to control people. Because the last thing you want if you want control over a group of people is to have them positive and energized.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't see that though, do you? It's nowhere. The majority of television. Well, I don't watch television either, but especially news. The majority of news, I know you do get the odd dog story, but the majority is all negative.
Yeah. And you know tomorrow someone's going to fuck that dog.
Yeah. But they do say the people that believe in God, they do say that it feeds off negativity. So maybe that's why it's there. Because it's so odd that negative media sells. If you think about it, you know, why we like to be happy. Humans like to be happy.
In a way, it makes sense to know. It makes sense to know where the danger's coming from. I'll steel man the negative media there. Like it makes sense to you would rather know that there's not a tiger in your bathroom.
Yeah, I would agree, but people were a lot more happier before the internet.
Eventually going to go for a piss.
What with the internet?
No, the tiger in the bathroom.
Oh yeah. That's
Jesus Christ, Ollie, that was like a sentence ago.
Yeah,
it's Mike Tyson's tiger too.
I think the tiger let me go for a piss.
It's even worse. It's those magicians that used to be Las Vegas.
Oh yeah. Everybody with the tiger, other than Mike Tyson, he's the only one that hasn't gotten eaten by the tiger, man. You know, the tiger respects Tyson. Tiger knows, man. Everybody else gets attacked, man. Everybody but him.
Yeah, but who knows? I think the next few interviews with Tucker Carlson might get interesting. I don't think he's ever going to spill the beans on it.
I think he has to. I think at some point, I think he will. He'll say what he thinks.
I don't think he's going to say who's told him it though. That's what I mean.
I don't think that matters.
Has he spoke to Colehart yet?
Maybe. I don't know. I would imagine he spoke to all those people. There can't be, if you're interested in something, there can't be anybody like we said before. The guy to sit down with Putin. If you have a sit down with Putin, there's not many people you haven't got access to.
Yeah.
Maybe he's one of them that told him after the sit down.
Yeah. I'm amazed that there was nothing to do with UFOs in that at all.
I was pissed. There was. Yeah. I was pissed, man. I laid in bed and listened to that whole interview, and I'm like getting to the end. I'm like, okay, for sure they saved it for the end, right? And then nothing, and I'm like, oh god, and I got to go to bed pissed now because I wanted to hear him ask him.
I don't know. I didn't expect anything. I was kind of surprised with the AI thing, to be honest with you. But I think that's even though I do think he's on the good side, is Tucker, but I do think he knows how he has to play it. And I think that would have been too much because he knew the entire world was watching this.
Well, don't forget, he didn't just sit down and speak to Putin. What he asked him. I mean, mind you, he said it was a candid conversation, didn't he? I'm not sure how much of that I believe. I feel he would have there would have had to be at least been the bones of, like the conversation and topics. Maybe given points that he wasn't allowed to ask. It would be interesting to know whether he wasn't allowed to ask about the UFO thing. I'm as much as I don't trust Western governments, I don't trust governments in general. You know, I'm certainly not one of these people that go, "Oh, I'm sure fucking Russia's great." I wonder how much of what's going on is it's like some sort of psychological operation that's gone on like from foreign nations on the West, like, because since probably about 2015, like the fucking seams have fell off the fucking Western project, and like most of that's happened through social media. So someone's doing that. That's not an organic thing. Like what we've gone through isn't organic. So it's either a job from within or it's a job from outside. It's got to come from somewhere. And I wonder whether the UFO thing is just part of that. It's just another, like another element. The other thing I thought about this was as well, with us looking so close to war, would be, what if the Tic Tac, Fravor, this stuff about like the technology, what if that's propaganda for them?
Mm-hmm.
What if the Tic Tac story is to make our adversaries think we have like faster than light fucking delivery systems? And that would be a great if you could do that by making it look like something's leaked out, and you're countering that by trying to say it's America, by trying to say it's aliens, and then you've got the Russians going, it's not fucking aliens, is it? Because aliens don't fucking exist. We know this, so it must be theirs because it's not ours.
It could be. I always wondered if that 2017 article came out because the timing did matter. And then maybe they got a year or so before a hint that they maybe China or Russia, somebody had a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And that's really what it could have been. You know, it's possible. I've thought about that recently too. Yeah.
Yeah. See, my thing about the Tic Tac is, I stem towards the fact I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe the story. I don't believe Fravor. I don't believe any
what part?
of it.
What part of
I don't believe the incident happened. I think he's doing
really?
Yeah, I think he's doing his job. Like I think there would be more said. I don't believe we have it, because even the like if you take like the stealth bomber, you know, and like when that was unveiled and mothballed kind of at the same time, wasn't it? You can kind of look at because we still like Concorde was still flying at those times. At that point, there was technological steps that you could see in the real world that would lead to that sort of that technology being there. I can't see the technological steps from what we have now that would lead to the Tic Tac. I can't see where anything like, okay, right, we've got drones. Well, we've got military drones. We've got drones that have been doing drone strikes for fucking years. So that's fine. We've got consumer drones, and we've got more sophisticated like military drones. Now you could say that the Tic Tac is just a more sophisticated military drone than what we're used to seeing, but you are talking about fucking transmedium craft, faster than light, defying gravity.
Yeah.
I just don't see the things that have the jumps that have made that happen.
To the in between bit.
It's a quantum leap from where we are now, and that's why we go to like non-human intelligences, because it's so huge.
It is from the way they say it works, but when I'll be honest with you, when I look at the videos, I'm not blown away by them.
No, it's
And,
not. But the
and
thing
maybe
is,
maybe that is just my because I don't understand all the
and
dials and
I
shit like
think
that.
I think that's why we've been given it. I think it's because it's kind of it's like being given a blank piece of paper, and you go, well, that's a black paper. So no, what that is it's a night sky, but it's got an invisible spacecraft in it. So you've just got to. That story rests on who tells it to you. So if someone you really trust tells you that there's an invisible spacecraft in that night sky, you go, fuck me. That's incredible. That's exactly what we get with the flare footage.
Yeah, I think I can see it.
Yeah, but that's that's what we get with the stuff that like Cobell puts out, because it's a leap of faith, because you're looking at stuff, you're going, I don't fucking really understand what's going on here. I know nothing about the technology that's been used to shooting it. I know nothing about the technology that I'm supposed to be looking at, but that guy's told me it's fucking cool.
And I like him, so it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think we would see that progression though, Lee, to like something towards a Tic Tac. I mean, I agree that I think the Tic Tacs are ours. Personally, I do. I think there's a multiple reasons of why they are. But I mean, if I still firmly believe we wouldn't know what the nuke was either if we didn't have to use it. So I think it's just about like developing the technology. If you don't have to use it, why not store it away and just progress and progress and progress? I mean, how many people are really asking the question, just general public, why don't we have like better planes? Why is this stuff not really progressing? Why is every other technology getting better? People just seem to get on the plane and not really think about it.
Secret, man. They're keeping it secret. And it's the thing is, and you're right, that's great. So you've got these guys with unlimited budgets keeping it secret, but you still have private industry, and you still have private industry that want to like make money. There's a reason why the PlayStation 6 and Xbox fucking 2, whatever we're going to call this one,
Xbox Y.
But you got to be able to like control it though. I mean, it's different, right? Like it's technology that could end the world almost instantaneously. So you'd have to be very careful. Like if you were going to release it, you'd have to have a defense measure. And I wonder if they just don't have that yet, you know?
But I think you would have already had private industry and private companies coming up with the steps that would get you there. They might not have the budget, but you might have hoverboards. So that's what I mean about the steps in order to get us there. Like I say, there's a reason that the next consoles that come out are going to be essentially the same consoles with fucking different stickers on them, and that's because of the time and technology we have. This is what we can deliver for $400 to $500. I think there's something screwy about the whole disclosure movement.
I wonder if there's a way to drip it though. I wonder if there's a way to just give you a hoverboard, a part of the technology, you know? I don't know if I'm sold that it's not all one packaged where you could actually break it up and piece it out like you could. Well, here's a great graphics card. We'll put that in the PS4. Here's a better one, but still a graphics card, but it's just better. That's the PS5. I don't know if there's a way to break it up. You know what I mean?
But maybe essentially that's like your core bells.
But it wouldn't have to be dripped though. This is my thing though. I don't think it would have to be dripped from them, because somebody would have cracked it somewhere. Someone at fucking LG would have made that step to maybe it's not. Yeah, like like just something with like superconductive magnets or something like that, and put them into some sort of consumer product that's going to make somebody a million. Because can you imagine how much a fucking hoverboard would make? A legit hoverboard.
Oh, well, look at the electric scooters. They've sold like hotcakes.
Yeah, I mean, Lee, that's my argument though. I agree with you. That's my argument for that. Even though the Tic Tac is ours, the reality of it is the technology still has to come from somewhere. And that's why I think it has to come from some kind of recovered situation that we didn't come up with. Because I agree, other physicists in the world, they are capable. They are, and they've had a
So
lot of time to be able to work on it and try to figure stuff like that out. I think you would see it other places.
yeah.
That's why I think it's not. I think it's the Tic Tac is ours, but that technology where that came from, that's a different story, you know?
The problem then you've got is the fact that you must have a group of scientists that are basically working to different laws of physics than everybody else. I don't know if you can keep that secret. That
Maybe.
has to be sort of spoken about, you know, because if
Good
you're
point.
I know there's like things are classified and stuff like that, but you're talking the difference between like if you're talking to your contemporaries and they're trying to tell you about something like that, and you're going, "Oh, fucking magic's real." It's
Yeah.
it's wild.
It's a good
Um,
argument. Yeah, I mean, it's a good argument. Why wouldn't someone just feel the moral obligation to just come out and do that? Yeah, I mean,
mhm.
I think that's there. I think people are also. I mean, if you're in a job, it's making a lot of money, you're taking care of your family. I don't know. I think people are also persuaded by money heavily, and I think they could pay those people well enough to be quiet. I think it's possible. I'm not saying that's happening, but I think that that's still possible. Sure.
Oh, fuck, I was going to say
People do a
something.
lot for God
I
and
read
country, Lee. They
something.
do a lot, and if it's
Mhm.
just how they feel, if they were even into the program enough to know what the effect could be on humanity and maybe just their country, they would say, "Hey, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. It's too much." It's possible.
Or
That's what makes this thing
Mm.
such a mystery, right?
yeah, or if
Well,
like Bob Lazar said, he kind of wished he'd never come out and said anything so he could carry on working on it.
yeah, I mean, what but this is the thing. You got to look at other countries as well. You know, like let's say it's just the US that's got it. So you don't have to go to like adversarial nations, because we immediately go to like China and Russia with these sort of things. But what about India? Like India's an ally. You know, is there not like some rogue physicist in India that's going to come out and say, "Motherfucker, these guys have got fucking flying cars, and we
I
want
think they
flying
could.
cars."
I think they could. Why couldn't they? I don't know. I think it could come from anywhere. There's
Yeah.
capable people everywhere, man, for sure.
But it
Yeah.
seems the world seems to be at a stable level of technology. Like there's no one is like we've talked about like the breakaway civilization, you know, sometimes, but I mean, and maybe that's it. Maybe that is the thing. I know Dave said before that he believes the military industrial complex is essentially the breakaway civilization. But I just find the lack of movement in technology between nations odd. I find it odd that nobody's really got an edge. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think a lot of it we
iPhone,
haven't.
Samsung, and Google all take good pictures.
Yeah, no, but I think also we have to give AI a chance to take a crack at physics, though, too. I think we're
Yeah.
waiting for that. We're waiting to see what happens with that. That's the big thing
Mhm.
for me. Who knows when you get quantum computing in there with a chat GPT and let it run wild, let it learn the physics.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's a pretty strong. You probably wouldn't get a better physicist anywhere else in the world than something like that. I think that could really change things.
It can certainly write a good podcast description.
For sure.
I've only just noticed this, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna when you were talking about like celebrities with the one eye thing, I was like, I'm gonna send you this picture. That's an older picture of me. I thought it was pretty funny. We were just laughing making this
Does it
photo.
even look like you?
No,
That's an old photo. I'm probably 25, 26.
You're
right
also
there.
bald and black.
Oh yeah. No, that was on this film set thing we were doing for school.
That's a
It was
cool
just funny.
T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that band, dude. Love that band.
Yeah. So we've reached the 2-hour mark. Matthew, how long you got before this competition ends?
So I have to be fully
I don't keep calling
submitted.
Matthew.
I don't care. Well, that's my full name.
I know.
I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, I gotta have it fully submitted by Sunday. Not this Sunday, next Sunday, the 16th. So yeah, and then I don't know how long they'll take. I'm sure maybe they'll take a week to go over it and judge it. But the first round was judged just by like an anonymous selection of judges from, the UFO community, whoever, I have no idea. But the second round will also have a community section of voting for it. There's still going to be a judge element to the voting, but the community is there. So if you like it, if you like my submission, hey man, go in there and hit a little check mark for TM here.
I'm just getting excited for when we get rid of just the writing and talking, and we get to the sort of mixed UFO cage fighting. And then I'll step in for that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of great people that are in it, man. So the competition will be stiff. It'll be entertaining for everybody. Even if you're not looking for it for me, there's stuff there for everybody, man. Go check it out. There's a lot of great voices.
Go support Terrestrial Material, people. You know what to do. And if you want to support us, all the links are in the description, people, as well. And also, if you're driving, or you might just be doing some like housework and you want to just have.
Ollie's trying to tell you we've got a podcast.
Yeah, and
it's the easiest way for you to listen to our show. If sometimes you don't get the chance to listen to half the show, then go and download the podcast. We're on all the major platforms. If we're not on the platform of which you listen to podcasts on, email us at Alien Addict UK.
Yeah,
gmail.com. Yeah,
somebody took just Alien Addict.
Yeah, or send me a message at Alien Addict, Real Alien Addict on Twitter, and we'll make sure we get on that podcast platform, because that's the best place for you to listen to us is podcasts. That's the best way for you to consume the content as far as we're concerned.
And let me give you guys one little plug with that. If you guys are gamers out there, which is a lot of gamers in UFO land, if you have a PlayStation 5 and you play Diablo or some other game where you don't care about the sound too much, you can run Spotify in the background while you play your game. So you can listen to Alien Addict while you're slaying demons. Okay. I do it from time to time.
Fantastic.
So, there you go. There you go.
Listen to Alien Addict while slavering over demons.
You can slay demons while we talk about demons. How about that?
Good night, God bless, folks. Mind the bugs don't bite. Tune in tomorrow, 9 p.m, where we'll be talking about
stuff and that.
Aliens and things. Yeah. Got it all going on. There we go.
We're so
what is the U.S. government's relationship with these things? And there's evidence that there is a relationship and that it's a longstanding. And that raises like a lot of questions about intent. And so like, what is that? And I just personally decided, and people have been hurt by these things. That's a fact. That's a fact. It's a knowable fact. It's a provable fact. Their main interest is in convincing you that the supernatural is not real. And if you watch, and there are people in the media who specialize in spreading these lies on behalf of the government. I'm not going to name anybody, but like some of them work at the New York Times. Once you realize what the point of the exercise is, it's crazy. And I hope you'll assess all the fact-checking and the skepticism on UAPs through this lens. The main thing they want you to believe is the supernatural is not real. Well, then you have to ask yourself, like, why?
That's interesting.
It is so interesting. Why is that important to you? Why do you care if I think the supernatural is real? Like, why is that? First of all, why is it? How dare you, as my government, try to get involved in my spiritual beliefs? That's totally not your area. So get the fuck out of there, okay? A. But B, why has that been so important for 80 years for you to convince me the supernatural is not real? Why? Why is that? And of course, I can't answer the question, but my gut level response is, well, because if it is real, whatever they're telling you is not real.
chickens.